Earthlings. Welcome back to the Misfits and Mysteries podcast. As you guys know by now, it's your weekly podcast where we take you through everything from psychology and history to cryptids and aliens and everything in between. So we are your hosts, Emmy.
And Steve.
So Steve, what's going on? What's up?
Not much. Just been hanging out at home because COVID.
Yeah.
I got to puppy sit on Saturday, which was fun. Had a chill weekend, watched some football. Not that it was good yesterday. All the games they showed were blowouts, so it wasn't great. But and had a nice chill weekend. It was good to relax, Yeah, watch some South Park. How about yourself?
Same, very chill. My roommate and I actually ended up making a turkey yesterday.
A little Thanksgiving action?
Yeah, a little pre-Thanksgiving action, so that was fun. It took up like the whole day. And just had some good food, just chilling, just hanging. So
that's fun.
All is good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we're approaching Thanksgiving, so we'll have to think about our Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell we're going to do, but honestly.
If you have any suggestions, let us know.
Seriously, please submit them anywhere. You can email us, DM us, tweet at us, Instagram. You can even make a YouTube video and just for just us. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about.
I would actually love that.
Yeah, please.
That's the preferred method.
Please suggest. Yeah, please do the work for us.
Yeah.
Please outline your sources and put it in a video form so I don't have to read anything. That's the dream.
Yeah, we'll just insert that right into the podcast.
Yeah, and we'll just exactly. We won't even say anything. We'll just submit your podcast. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really think of is the history of Thanksgiving, but that's not really our thing. So I bet we can find some weird.
Well, like kind of controversial.
We can find some weird Thanksgiving story. I'm pretty confident. We just gotta do some digging. Yeah. All right. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever read Great Expectations by Charles Dickens?
I have not.
Oh, too bad. I sort of did. I don't really know what happens. And so I've been watching a lot of South Park. And the South Park episode, the Great Expectations episode, it starts off like correct. And then it definitely is not what actually happened. And now I'm trying to remember like what the hell happened in that book. I don't think I actually read it. I think I read
When did you read it? Like 8th grade?
Sophomore year of high school. So I don't recall what happens at all. But I guarantee there are no robotic monkeys and that Miss Havisham or whatever her name was, I don't think she was trying to make a machine to interface, to like absorb herself into her daughter that runs off the tears of men. I don't think that happened in the book.
It sounds pretty good though.
It was funny. It was awesome.
What it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they really had robots and stuff in the 1800s, but I could be wrong. I honestly don't think I read more than like a couple of chapters because my sophomore year English teacher was a joke and just didn't really give a shit about teaching us.
You probably just spark noted the whole thing.
Yeah, so I don't know what happens. So if someone wants to inform me on what actually happens in that book, I would love to find out. I was hoping you were going to give me a synopsis.
Anything to do with what you're talking today, or you're just...
No, this just came up yesterday, and I was hoping that you might know what it's about, because I certainly don't.
I was almost an English major in college, and then I realized that I kind of hate reading, so...
I hate reading, too.
Cut that out real quick.
I know. I hate reading, but I actually like writing things, which is so weird.
I do, too.
Like, I don't mind reading what I've wrote. I don't mind reading things to like research, but I don't like reading for fun. That's not something I do.
No. I would rather listen to a podcast. That's probably why we're here.
Yeah, or I'd rather watch TV about it or a documentary.
Yeah.
I've been watching documentaries lately, actually. I've been on a tear.
Stream?
Yeah, Curiosity Stream.
Curiosity Stream?
Yes, on Curiosity Stream.
Us.
I watched one about otters. Then I watched one about Australia. I don't know what the hell they were called, but they're good. Otters are cool. There's also a good one about penguins. I mean, it's just worth watching.
Yeah. All
pay me.
All good stuff.
Curiosity Stream, please pay me.
We just have to do our daily plug. They don't even need to sponsor us because we already plug them every episode.
I know, right? Well, I'm gonna start bleeping their name. I'll start lying and saying it's one of their. I don't think they have a competitor. I can't think of another documentary exclusive streaming service.
I can't either.
Do you want to jump into the episode or?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So today, I think we're both talking about aliens, correct?
Yeah. I'm talking about alien abductions, and what's Emmy talking about?
Emmy is talking about celebrity alien encounters.
Ooh, And now a quick break for a word from our sponsor, Anchor. Anchor is one of the easiest ways to make a podcast. It's what we personally use to make our podcast, the Misfits and Mysteries podcast. It's one of our favorites because it's super easy to use and it's free.
They even have creation tools that let you record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, which has been awesome for us because we're not experts, but they make it super easy.
Another great thing about Anchor is that they distribute your podcast for you, so you don't have to go through the hassle of uploading your RSS feed individually to every single podcast hosting service out there. They get you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts.
And you can start making money from your podcast right away with absolutely no minimum listenership, which has been great for us.
And what's awesome is this is a tool that's super useful. Everything you need to make a professional podcast, you can find in one easy-to-use place.
So download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
So now let's get back to business.
Back to business.
Exciting.
So I actually had another story that I was going to do that maybe I'll do in a future episode, but that one was about a woman who just recently came out with a book about her own relationship with an alien and how she has gone to his planet, they've lived together, and in this book their whole love affair, and I feel like that's very like our bread and butter.
Oh shit. I forgot to read the Kissing Coronavirus book that's 15 pages long.
Next time
I'll do that.
So yeah, that's a plug for a future episode, but
I bet we could find some weird ass Thanksgiving erotica book that's like 10 pages long.
Ew. Like pilgrims.
Yeah.
We can't pigeonhole ourselves into the erotica stuff. That's
yeah, I don't know if we want to, but it's on brand. Okay.
Very on brand.
Want to get started with these celebrity stories?
Yes. So, Steve, just recently, a lot of celebrities have started coming out with their alien experiences. And this is just another thing to check off your 2020 bingo board.
Yay.
Weird things. So the first one came out in the beginning of October, so very recently. Mm-hmm. Post Malone went on the Joe Rogan podcast, which I know you love.
It's okay. I love some of it. I
have a love-hate relationship with. Is that
Joe Rogan's kind of? I'm starting to realize that Joe Rogan's kind of just really stupid. Like he's entertaining, yeah. But I don't get why people are like, "Oh, he's such a good interviewer." It's like, no, he's not. He's just like interjects and says stuff that makes no sense. He's just like entertaining because he just asks random questions. Like he's an everyday man. But I have a problem with how people idolize him, and I don't love a lot of how I don't love a lot of his thinking, especially because if you watch the Alex Jones one, it was really entertaining. But Alex Jones would say something that's batshit crazy, and then Joe Rogan would like minutes later be like, "Oh, that makes sense." It's like, are you serious?
No.
I don't think I dislike Joe Rogan per se. I think I have more of issues with how people idolize him. Because at the end of the day, he's a comedian. Comedians aren't necessarily smart people. They're not necessarily dumb people, but they're not exactly the people you should be.
It's just not where you should go for your information.
Oh, yeah, definitely not.
What we're saying. So, no matter how you feel about it, Post Malone went on a episode of the Joe Rogan podcast. They had a 4-hour interview.
Jesus.
And
you'll listen to 4 hours or something?
I know. 4 hours of Post Malone? My God.
I like Post Malone, but I just don't think I'd want to listen to him for 4 hours.
No, 4 hours, that's like, could do anything. in 4 hours.
I could do anything else.
So this one's quick, but it kind of sparked a lot of other celebrities telling their alien stories. So Post Malone basically said that he had an aunt and uncle that were very strict, and sometimes he would stay at their house with his cousin. And when he was staying at their house, they had a very strict bedtime, which was at 10 p.m. And he would sit in the bedroom with his cousin, and this was in upstate New York. They were probably 16 years old, and they would look out the window, and this was a reoccurring thing that would happen. They would see a light that flashed across the sky and then would go away and then would come back. So this was his first encounter with what he believes to be aliens. Mm-hmm. And Joe Rogan asked him how strong this memory was, like how confident does he feel about it? And he said, I don't know, but there's definitely something there. And then he added that since his time living in Southern California and Utah, he's seen numerous other extraterrestrial encounters. So interesting.
Very interesting.
So it kind of set off a chain of a few other celebrities coming out with their alien stories, the next of which was Miley Cyrus. So Miley Cyrus, just imagine like back in the Hannah Montana days.
So was it before she was on drugs or after? I mean, I believe in aliens. I'm not trying to discredit this. I'm just curious.
This is very much on drugs, Miley Cyrus.
Okay, so we'll take this with a grain of salt.
We'll get there. We'll get there later.
Stuff.
She actually talks about drugs in this story. So we'll get to it. So she says that she was driving through San
Bernardino.
Yes, San Bernardino with her friend, and was quote unquote chased down by a UFO. So she said the best way to describe it was a flying snowplow.
Snowplow?
Yes. She said it had a big plow in front of it and was glowing yellow. And her friend saw it too, and they were driving down the road, and there was a couple other cars that all stopped to see what it was. Mm-hmm. This flying snowplow in the sky. And she said that the craziest part of it was while she was looking at this object, she looked and she saw a being, like an alien being on top of the snowplow staring back at her. And they like made eye contact and just had this moment together.
Mm-hmm. Out of curiosity, how did she describe this being, or does she?
All she says was, I saw a being in front of the flying object. It looked at me and we made eye contact. That's what really shook me, looking into the eyes of something I couldn't quite wrap my head around.
That's interesting. No, I was just curious. I don't want to spoil it, but...
No, I mean...
In the story I'm going into, the people were able to see the beings in the spaceship. Through binoculars, so
yeah, I'm not really sure how she was able to see the being. Like, how close was this thing in the sky where she could have like made eye contact with something that was sitting in front of it? But I don't know. So, and she said that she didn't feel threatened by it, but why this story has been called into question is because she said that earlier that night she had bought weed wax from, quote, a guy in a van in front of a taco shop.
Oh, so she was probably tripping.
She was probably not sober, which also I just wanted to bring up the fact that Miley Cyrus, who's like one of the most famous people in music right now, had to buy weed from a guy in a van. Like, can't she just go to a dispensary? She's in California. Or get someone to deliver it to her home?
Wasn't that before weed was legal, though?
This was last month.
Oh, last month? What?
Yeah. And so is the Post Malone story.
What the hell?
Isn't that strange? Like, why would she be buying weed in a van?
That makes absolutely no sense. I
She's
mean, if I lived in
famous.
California, I'm not famous, and I could get weed from a legit place. Why the hell she go from a van?
Exactly.
Because
I mean, maybe
definitely, it
she's
definitely
like the
wasn't weed.
thrill of it.
I mean, it definitely wasn't just weed. She probably got like fucking salvia or something. It's not legal.
It says weed wax. So what is that, like dabs? I don't know.
I think so. I'm not positive though.
If
But
anyone is familiar, let us know.
yeah, not us. I've never done a dab.
But isn't that strange?
Yeah, that's the weirdest part of the story is that she bought from a van outside a taco shop.
Outside of a taco shop. Like, how bizarre is that? And then just was like driving into the night and like saw this snowplow in the sky. My God. I don't know. It does seem like more than weed.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right. I don't know what's up.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, so do you have another one or?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is the most intense one. So
Okay.
up next, this story came out on October 24th. So right before Halloween, just 2 weeks ago. So Demi Lovato,
Isn't she like a heroin addict?
she was definitely an addict and like went to rehab and like has had some substance abuse issues. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she announced right before Halloween on Instagram that she has frequently made contact with alien life forms.
Really?
Really?
She, of all people.
Yes. She also apparently has said in the past that she believes mermaids exist, so questionable.
She was also addicted to, I'm pretty sure it was heroin, so her brain's probably a bit fried. I do believe in aliens. I'm not saying, oh, like this is so fake. I'm just saying that these three celebrities are of questionable character in terms of substance abuse.
I agree. I definitely agree. So this post got over 300,000 likes on Instagram. So
all right, can we start pretending that we've seen aliens then if there ain't 300,000 likes?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe we should start doing
I
that.
believe in aliens. I just haven't seen them yet. If they would just come contact me, like I would totally promote them. I would talk about them all the time.
We have
like,
them on the show.
We would have them on the show. Like, come on, just like
That's how we
hit
get
us
rich.
up.
We'd have them on the show.
If they just would come here, then
Also, I have a perfect view of the water. The aliens should just fly by me. I'm primed for an alien encounter. It's bullshit that I haven't had one yet. I just want to see a UFO. I don't really believe in UFOs. I kind of want to believe in them. I just need one instance of an unidentified flying object. Just fly by my window at some point when I'm looking.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to believe. Just give me a sign. Just hit me up.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's what the hell? Why are all these like non-credible people saying it? I'm more credible than them.
I know I told you this, and maybe this isn't the right time to bring this up, but when I was a kid, I really believed that I was an alien.
I remember.
That I was an alien. And now there's this Kesha song called Spaceship where she talks about an alien spaceship coming back to get her, and every time I listen to it, I inexplicably cry. So.
Uh-oh. I mean, the alien.
Who knows? If aliens want to come here and tell me what's up, I will listen. So, anyways. So, Demi Lovato posts on Instagram, and there's a video. You can go look it up on her Instagram of her alien encounter and see what you think for yourself. But she says that over the past couple of months, she's been really exploring the science of consciousness, and it's brought her a lot of peace and yada, yada, yada. But she's also witnessed and experienced some of the most profound sightings of extraterrestrials, both in the sky and mere feet away from her.
Wow.
So she really thinks that they're like best buds, she and the aliens.
That's cool. I mean, I'd be friends with an alien if they didn't eat me or give me alien diseases.
I know, as long as they're not mean, like, let's
Yeah.
hang out. Let's chill.
Yeah. We'd chill. I'd hang out with an alien.
Exactly. So she says that she intentionally went out with this guy. I did not write down his name, and I should have wrote down his name, but she tags him in her Instagram post to Joshua Tree in California with the intent of making contact with aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And they're from this group called CE5, and she actually plugs their app in her post. And I downloaded the app, and it's basically like a guide for how to find aliens. So maybe we should check that out.
I mean, we should, but I gotta say, what are the chances that this like C5 people, what are the chances that they have the key to contacting aliens and not the US government?
I know. Well, and Demi actually talks about the government in her post. So let me just get through it. So
yeah, pull it up.
So there's a very long post, so I won't read the whole thing, but she says that the planet is on a very negative path towards destruction. But as a collective, as a society, we can change that by getting at least one, this is her plan. Mm-hmm. So we get at least 1% of the population to meditate and make contact with aliens. And that, she believes, would force the government to acknowledge the truth about extraterrestrial life and change, quote unquote, change our destructive habits, destroying the planet. I'm not sure how those two things link.
I don't think they do. I think if anything, I mean, this was back to something we said when Brian was on the show.
Yeah.
That I think he brought up that like, we're probably going to be the ones who exploit the aliens. So maybe we'll unify Earth and then we go ruin another planet and like leave this one pristine, but it's not going to be good. It's best the aliens don't make contact with us because that's going to be a huge mistake.
Definitely like need their resources.
I know.
Yeah.
We're going to enslave them. We're going to do all this bad stuff. It's not
it's not going to be good. You're right. Brian's right.
It's not going to be good for them. Like, I know like all the stories are, oh, the aliens come to Earth and destroy us. No, that's the other way around. The poor aliens, we destroy them.
Yeah, exactly. So she shows her videos and her photos from her journey in Joshua Tree, and she says, this is just some of the evidence under the stars in the desert sky that can no longer be ignored and must be shared immediately. But some people claim that she is going on this journey because she just went through a huge breakup. She just broke up with her fiance of 2 months. They were only engaged for 2 months and then they broke up. So they got engaged during quarantine, broke up during quarantine, and now she's hanging out with aliens.
Okay. And she's a known drug addict.
So not the most credible, but
yeah. Any more you have, or?
I just had a list of a few people that believe in aliens. No other big stories. So Jaden Smith.
Of course.
Jaden Smith says that he actually spoke with Barack Obama. And this is his quote. I talked to President Obama about extraterrestrials. He said they could neither confirm nor deny the existence of aliens, which means they're real.
I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson can neither confirm nor deny because he believes there needs to be scientific evidence. Does that mean they're real?
Yeah, exactly. So I would take that one with a grain of salt, but...
Yeah, I would too.
And someone else that believes in aliens is The Rock.
That's good. I like The Rock.
The Rock says...
He's a genuinely good guy.
The Rock is like... I think he's a good guy. I don't think he's the most talented person, but that doesn't make him...
Oh, but I think he's a really good person. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And Snooki.
Of course she does.
She says that we're not the only planet with a civilization. So there you have it.
That's cool. I mean, I believe in aliens. I don't think we're gonna like encounter them because, like I've said before, on our first episode, which I'd say is probably not our best episode, despite that getting the most views consistently. I don't know why you're still listening to that one. Listen to the new stuff, please.
Move on, guys.
Yeah, come on, listen to the new stuff. But I just don't think that we're gonna get visited by them. It just seems like they definitely exist, but who's to say that they can fly spaceships? Who's to say that they have any interest in interacting with us?
Yeah, but it does seem like there's so much we don't know about the universe. There's so much that's unexplored that there has to be something out there.
Oh, I agree.
I think a lot of people agree about that.
Yeah. I think it's hard to argue that we're the only thing out there at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not impossible. That's the one thing that to also accept is that just because it's unlikely that we are the only thing doesn't mean that we're not.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's one thing to just factor in. So I want to jump into alien abductions.
Let's do it.
So to be totally honest, and I decided not to, but at first I was going to read the synopsis to the first episode of South Park where Cartman gets abducted by aliens and try and pass it off as the real story. But the real alien abduction story that we're talking about is probably more interesting than that.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about Betty and Barney Hill. So they were by no means the first people to be reported as being abducted by aliens, but they're the most influential people. They pretty much invented the, quote, genre of alien abduction stories in that we're going to get into all this stuff later, but there is a clear change in how every single alien abduction story is told pre and post Barney and Betty Hill abduction, which is pretty fascinating. So for this, like I said, I'm kind of skeptical about UFOs and abductions and stuff, but this is a really concise story that is going straight through. So unlike the past times where I've said I'm going to just tell a story and not be critical, this is going to be a lot easier to just go right through the story. And then I'm not even going to be really critical of the story because the analysis of all these different factors are almost more fascinating than anything I could point out. So without further ado, we're going to start with the story. So Betty and Barney Hill were two very hardworking Americans. This took place in 1961, September of 1961. So Barney was a post office worker. He drove 60 miles each way. So they lived in New Hampshire. Betty handled state children welfare cases. So these are hardworking people. And another thing that's an interesting fact, which will come up much later on, is that Betty and Barney were a mixed race couple in the 60s, which wasn't really an acceptable thing, especially in a place like New Hampshire that is very heavily white. So that's going to play a role in some of the theories for their abduction story, which we'll get into later.
Okay.
So the story goes that the couple had very little free time, and they're very devoted to their church and the civil rights movement, which makes sense as a mixed race couple back then. And so they had very little free time. And after about a little over a year of marriage, I believe it was 16 months, Betty and Barney decided to take a late honeymoon. So they booked a really spontaneous trip. They're going to go through Montreal to Niagara Falls and back up to New Hampshire, right? So they left, and it was like a very impulsive thing. They left pretty quickly. The banks were closed for the weekend, so they left with just $70 in their pocket.
And no credit cards at this time.
No credit cards, yeah, 'cause it's the 60s, right?
Yeah.
So then they have a quick 3-day vacation. So on their way home, they stopped in Vermont, right? So that's not too far from where they're trying to get back home because Vermont borders New Hampshire. So the two stopped at a coffee shop in Vermont to just get some coffee and recharge before they drove. And they decided not to spend the night because there was a hurricane coming up and they wanted to get back to their home in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They estimated they'd be able to get there between 2 and 3 a.m. if they left. So as they drove, and these are really windy roads, like dark, no lights at all, up and down mountains, just woods all around, no one around, right? Really late at night. So as they drove, there's a strange light in the sky that seemed to be following them. And it sort of looked like a shooting star at first, but with each passing mile, it kept getting closer and closer. But Barney wasn't very concerned about it because he was a World War II vet, and he was also an avid plane watcher, which I guess you did in the 60s. There was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And
Plane watcher.
Yeah, he just watched planes, which is why he had binoculars with him, which we'll get into later in the story.
Kind of sad.
I know, right? That's like worse than bird watching. Because at least bird watching, like stuff happens.
You can like identify the birds and stuff, but plane watching, what are you even watching? God.
No idea. All right. So he assumed that it was just like a satellite veering off course. It was not a big deal. So as time went on, it got later, the lights seemed to move with the car. As Barney steered down the mountain road, the light zigged and zagged with him, and it ducked past the moon and behind trees and mountain ridges, and then it reappeared like moments later. And so at times it appeared to be moving towards them as like a game of cat and mouse. The couple just assumed that it was some sort of weird optical illusion from how the car was moving. So they didn't think much of it. But eventually, the curiosity killed the cat, as they say. They got out of the car. They pulled over at a picnic stop. And Barney took out his pair of binoculars, which he uses to watch planes because he's such an interesting dude.
Yeah.
And Betty saw, as the guy that binoculars. So Betty saw that their white light was actually an object spinning in the air. So this is like prime flying saucer time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and apparently Betty exclaimed, "If you think that's a satellite or a star, you're being completely ridiculous." And then when they're about 70 miles past the diner, which is, I assume, at this rest stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Checking out what this thing was, the object was just hovering above the treetops, about only 100 feet above them. So Barney, actually, I guess they kept going because Barney abruptly stopped the car and he kept the engine running. And he had a handgun he had hidden beneath the seat, which he put in his pocket. And so he left Betty in the car and he ran into a open field to check out what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he described what he saw as an object as big as a jet, but as round and flat as a pancake. And they're behind a row of windows. So he's able to see this stuff because he has binoculars out, right?
Yeah.
So there's behind a row of windows, there's gray uniformed beings. So the beings were gray, wearing uniforms, not gray uniforms. Gray uniform beings that seemed to look right at him. Barney recalled that he tried to lift his hand to the pistol, but somehow he couldn't, and a voice told him not to put down the binoculars. He ran back to his car yelling hysterically, and he got into the car and they barreled down the road, right? And Betty was tracking the craft by craning her neck out the window. And without explanation, a loud rhythmic beeping sound started coming out of the car's trunk. The couple felt instantly drowsy and lost consciousness.
Oh, man.
And they woke up 2 hours later, about 35 miles down the road.
In their car?
Yeah, in their car. And they just blacked out for 2 hours. There's 2 hours of unaccounted time.
Oh, that gives me the chills. I
know.
hate that.
So back in Portsmouth, they didn't know what happened because they had lost 2 hours of their memory. But reportedly, Barney felt compelled to examine his body's lower half. And then they both felt like gross afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And in the following weeks and months, this is kind of interesting. Betty started to check out books from the library that were discovering the civilian UFO, and she discovered the civilian UFO group, National Investigators Committee on Aerial Phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's kind of weird, this is the one thing I'll say before we get to the actual analysis, because there's more to the story, is the one thing that's kind of strange is they have 2 hours of their memory blacked out, but maybe just because they recalled the thing chasing them. She got really interested in UFOs right after, and then she reported the sighting to the Air Force because they were concerned of radiation.
Wait, can you say that again? They were concerned about radiation?
Yeah, they're concerned about radiation because they got abducted by aliens. They want to make sure they get radiation poisoning or something.
Okay.
In the coming years, Betty started suffering from disturbing dreams, and Barney developed an unclear anxiety. The couple eventually sought help from a mental expert, and the two met with Benjamin Simon, who is a psychiatrist and neurologist who specializes in hypnosis, which was a mainstream technique at the time. So this is interesting, tying back to our first episode again, where hypnosis, and we sort of talked about how it's kind of problematic for some reasons because you can plant false memories pretty easily.
Yeah.
We'll get into later. We're going to get through the story first. Just something to think about. So through months of weekly sessions, Simon helped the couple piece together what they think had happened to them. So according to their story, a vessel landed on the Hill's car, putting them to sleep. Afterwards, these gray beings walked them up a long ramp and into their spaceship. Once inside, the Hills were separated, and they took turns in an exam room that had curved walls and a large light hanging from the ceiling, and each was asked to climb up on a metal table. During the examination, the beings removed Betty and Barney's clothes, plucked strands of hair, took clippings of their nails, scraped their skin. Each sample is placed in a clear material not unlike a glass slide. Needles connected to long wires probed their heads, arms, legs, and spines. I don't like that part. That's gross.
I don't like that either.
And then one large needle around 4 to 6 inches long was inserted in Betty's belly button.
Ooh.
And that was their pregnancy test. How the hell can they fly across galaxies, but they can't give you a pregnancy test that's non-intrusive?
Like a urine sample?
Yeah, seriously. Okay. Then after Betty's examination ended, the beings rushed back into her room because they were excited they discovered that Barney's teeth could be removed. Because it turns out Barney had dentures because he was old. And they were really excited because they never found dentures before.
But how do they remember? I mean, how is this a memory? Weren't they asleep?
No, they were awake for this part. Their memories really erased.
Oh, okay.
Which we'll get to later. So later, when Betty was alone with the leader, she asked him where the craft had flown, admitting she knew nothing about the universe. And apparently, the head guy jokingly said, "If you don't know where you are, there wouldn't be any point in telling you where we are." Which makes sense.
That makes sense. I mean, if you don't have any context.
Yeah. Later, under hypnosis, she drew a star map that was shown to her on the ship. Unfortunately, there's no information about if that star map actually exists anywhere in the universe that we know of, but that'd be really interesting if it did.
If it did, that would be huge.
So then that's their story, but it continues. This is when it became popular. So in 1965, these events occurred in 61, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
In 1965, the Hill story was picked up by a Boston newspaper, and after that, everything changed. So they're a quiet couple, and they became the subject of a best-selling book, a movie starring James Earl Jones. I know the name. I have no idea who the hell that is, though. And they became celebrity abductees, which is a funny thing to say that they're famous.
Celebrity abductees.
Yeah. So the Hills weren't the first people to see a UFO or even report an abduction, but their story just captivated the nation's imagination. Mm-hmm. And it became so widely publicized that it shaped how we talk about alien encounters and abductions. Christopher Bader is a professor of sociology at Chapman University in California.
Mm-hmm.
According to his research, before the Hills story, alien encounters were always friendly. And in some cases, the aliens lived on Earth and commuted back and forth on the weekends.
That would be fun.
I know. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, like they just work here, but go back home on the weekends.
They just have a boring 9-to-5 job, and then Friday rolls around, and they go to the company happy hour, and then they fly their ship
like an accountant.
Yeah, so that was one of the things.
Maybe that's why they wore uniforms.
Maybe they're coming maybe they're leaving the auto body shop.
Yeah, they're just
cute. And then this interesting thing is, once the Hill story became super famous, that's when abduction stories shifted away from friendly aliens and alien commuters towards our stereotypical story now, which is abduction accounts that were all medical examinations.
Yeah.
What I think is really fascinating about that is I'd almost argue that should discredit every alien encounter after that. Isn't it weird that until one story became a global sensation, everyone had different interpretations of alien abductions, and all of a sudden they all became the exact same one? Or alternatively, different types of aliens.
Yeah. But you could say, I mean, because they were under hypnosis and this was the first time that it was kind of unlocked, then maybe everyone after that started actually remembering their encounters. I
also think that's possible. There's different races of aliens, and maybe some of them are hey, we like human money. Let's work in a diner, and then we fly over the body. Imagine if your coworker was an actual alien, and it's what'd you do this weekend?
Oh, just went back to Plerbnon.
It's what? Went to the Yankees game.
Yeah.
It's okay. So the other thing is that it's possible that the psychotherapy they're under just planted a false memory as well, or just made them more suggestible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing. So Harvard psych professor Richard J. McNally, his direct quote, he says, "The alien abduction phenomenon, in my opinion, shows how sincere non-psychotic individuals can develop beliefs about and false memories of incredible experiences that never happened." So the experts believe that these abductions, that like their abduction and probably all the other stories, are a mix of, especially theirs, are a mix of suggestibility, because they want to believe something. They have preset beliefs, like
Right.
suggestibility. And then another throwback to, I think, episode 2 with was talking about how they believe that sleep paralysis and sleep deprivation could have led to hallucinations, which this is not something I touched about in any of the articles I looked into. But I was thinking, Barney, clearly, they're both very stressed out people, which is one of the factors for sleep paralysis. They both are probably overworked and exhausted. I mean, Barney works a night shift and drives 60 miles both ways to and from work. So he's probably a tired guy. They just drove through the night to go from Montreal to New Hampshire. So I'd say there is a possibility that they're both hallucinating because they're exhausted.
But at the same time,
I mean, there's interesting. Like, there's a lot of
thing to me is that they ended up however many miles down the road and neither of them remembered getting there.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. So one of the things they say is that the one common denominator between people who report being abducted by aliens is that they're all people who have very overactive imaginations, which is something that's done with like research. So that's an interesting thing, is that they could be in a position where they're just very suggestible, and because they already have these overactive imaginations, they are more likely to fill in the gaps with fantastical stories.
Okay. I mean, I guess you also could say like someone who's very like strict and scientific in their beliefs would never accept the explanation that they were abducted by aliens.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just listing off all the interesting explanations.
Yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, I like that. A psychologist, Michael Shermer, thinks that one of the things that could cause these abduction stories is paternicity, which is the tendency to see patterns even when they're non-existent. That's what helps us see like faces in clouds or assume that one event could have caused another event. So I think the idea is, I see a light in the sky. They probably actually saw a light in the sky, right? And maybe the stress, overactive imaginations, and this paternicity, however you pronounce it, all combined, they're like, okay, I think I see people, and then their imaginations went. And another interesting thing, past experiences also really sharpen like your perception of things. This is a really interesting difference between how Barney and Betty perceived the quote leader of the Greys, as they call them. Well, Barney was a World War II vet, and to him, the head Grey reminded him of Hitler and seemed menacing. Whereas Betty, who's excited about aliens and is like a big fan of aliens, she remembered bantering with the Grey, as they called them, to perform the medical exam. So it's just really interesting that, like, yeah, they have the same story, but their perceptions of these alleged beings are wildly different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also thinking, in the 60s, at least in some regions of the South, Black people were not allowed to be on the road after a certain time, and the cops would chase them out of the town. So, like, it could have been people or, like, cops following them because they are a racial couple.
That's also it. Like, so one of the things they also bring up is that another reason this couple was under immense pressure is that this took place when the Cold War was at its peak, the civil rights movement was ramping up, and they're interracial couple at this time. It's like, this is just a very hard position to be in.
Right.
So the final real criticism and what I'd say is the most interesting and most credible knock against the story is, so their psychiatrist, Simon, so he never believed that the Hills made up their story. The abduction story that she gave him lined up perfectly with the dreams she was having, right? So he concluded that Betty had dreamed about the abduction and Barney had absorbed her story because many of the vivid details matched the descriptions of what Betty had written down about her dream, not the event. So I think the suggestibility is the most likely actual answer.
Right.
Because the dreams came first and then the vivid memories came. And before you can like say, well, why would Barney have it? They're hypnotized together. So if she believes one thing and they're both hypnotized, then she can implant that memory in him.
Yeah.
The one thing though is the Hills have always stuck to their story, and they do not believe that false memories or sleep paralysis could explain their story. So it's possible that they're abducted. I don't typically buy the abduction stories, but I think this one's really fascinating because it's the first one and it sort of defined the genre going forward.
Yeah. Sparked like a cultural phenomenon almost.
Yeah, exactly. They also were the people that sort of popularized aliens being gray men with large black eyes.
Yeah. I'm curious how they described them. Were they like the pointy face, big eyes?
They're gray humanoid and had big black eyes.
Okay.
And they wore uniforms of some sort. Betty also, she became the voice of UFO research and claims to have been visited multiple times in the following decades.
So she was really believing in this. Like,
yeah, she got really into
her life
UFOs.
on it.
But the other thing too is she got really into abductions and UFOs prior to getting therapy and unlocking this memory. So that's where I sort of buy into the suggestibility idea, because she became really into a subject and then there's something that she could fill in like the gaps with perfectly. So who knows if it's true.
Did Barney get into any of this stuff afterwards?
They didn't say if Barney got into this stuff, but I think but Barney never agreed that it was like a false memory or sleep paralysis. He said it happened.
Yeah. So he wasn't just going along with.
No. He genuinely believes it. He wasn't just going along with his wife.
Yeah.
This is the best one because I feel like a lot of alien abduction stories, I'm not really an expert in this field by any means. I didn't do a ton of research before I stumbled upon this one, but I just feel like a lot of them are really just not credible people. And the really interesting thing about Barney and Betty is that they're credible people. They're not like drug users. They're not like alcoholics. They're not like insane people. They're just normal people without any psychotic issues.
Yeah. And they weren't out there to get fame, it seems like.
No.
Like some of these people might be.
Yeah, because their story didn't even become popular until 4 years after they were allegedly abducted.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this one. It was really cool. I mean, I'm also really interested in like the psychology part of it too. Yeah. So it's really interesting reading this article.
As you said, I think that connects back to some of our past episodes too about hypnosis and suggestibility, aliens.
Yeah.
So.
You can check them out. I mean, don't listen to episode 1, but like, I mean, we make money if you listen to it, so please do. But we're so much better at this now than we were the first episode where we just sort of winged it.
We were just getting the jitters out.
Yeah, I know.
That's how you guys know we're real people. We're real people just like you.
I know, just like you.
Just like you. You guys thought that we were famous, but nope.
It's like, it's just so unfair. Like, aliens could just fly by my window at any given moment. But they don't.
We would just say, hey. We would
just say, hey, come on the pod.
No one listens to us anyways, so it's
yeah, right?
We'll reveal them.
No, what do you mean? I mean, we got 100 million downloads an episode.
Yeah.
We're beating Joe Rogan by, what, like 999 million? Billion, trillion, zillion?
Yeah, I last time I checked the numbers, that's what it was. Might be more by now, but...
Yeah. It's pretty impressive. All right, want to get into Kids Nation?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me just pull up my Kid Nation notes.
Somebody pull up the picture of the kids.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is this website, though? Zwooper.com? I love Zwooper. Like, what the hell is Zwoop? There are Zwooper games. Should we play Zwooper games?
Yeah, let's stream it.
We have Zwooper streamers.
The best thing about watching Kid Nation now is this came out in what, 2015?
2007.
Oh, 2007. So now they're like actual adults.
Yeah, I think the oldest kids are like, what, 25 now? 26?
They're older than us.
Yeah, older than us. Before we end the episode, follow up. So there is a thread from Michael on Reddit. He has like an AMA.
So not Mike, but Michael.
No, Michael, not Mike. I still hate Mike. And one of the people asked him if anyone hooked up during it, and he said yes, but he won't say anything about who did. He said it wasn't him. So there were people hooking up.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
I wonder what hooked up means. Like kiss.
I hope just kissed.
Yeah.
They're a little too young for that.
Yeah.
So apparently he also said that there was never any issue of starving because they always got enough food. And he also said that he bummed a lot of food off the camera guys.
But it seems like the food is always so gross.
I know. According to him, it was easy to make them feel bad and get them to give him food. So
yeah, I mean, if I was a camera person, you wouldn't just sit there and let a kid starve. I mean,
yeah, no, I wouldn't either. That'd be wrong.
Yeah.
He's actually been active up to last time he posted was a month ago. So maybe
we could get him on a podcast.
Maybe. Honestly, I think he might be like our age. He was, wait, actually, let me think. No, he was 14 in 2000.
I was 12.
I have no idea.
Let's see if I wrote it down. No.
Whatever.
But we could get him on.
Maybe. We'll reach out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love in the recap, to start off the episode for episode 2, I love when they recap it and they show the clip of Jimmy saying he's 8.
We're going to die here.
Yeah. It's actually a good thing Jimmy left. As much as I loved him because he is 8. He's way too young to be doing this.
Jimmy should not be there. Jimmy, he had that quote where he was like, I'm in 3rd grade. I don't want to be here.
I know. It's like, you're so right.
Yeah, like, Jimmy, honestly, like, what are your parents thinking?
Yeah.
Like, this is traumatizing.
So apparently the parents had to sign all of these, like, waiver forms, basically being like, if anything happens to your kid, you can't sue. Like, they die or anything like that.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure they have such a big liability.
I know. It's insane. Why would you let your kids do this?
I have no idea.
Okay. So in this episode, just to get everyone caught up, you should go in and watch it. Link will be in the episode notes.
It's on YouTube.
Tweet it out. Yes, it's on YouTube. It's free. So there's really no reason not to. I think this is the best episode so far. And I've only watched 2 of them. So premise is basically the kids need like protein. So they want to eat a chicken, and then they reassess the like social classes, and then
they have a challenge, and based on the challenge, they reassess the social classes, and then someone gets the gold star.
Yeah, that's what happens.
But the big debate is the chicken.
Yeah. So my thoughts on the chickens incident is they're like, we need protein. I'm like, you guys have 18 chickens. If you kill 2 of them, you have less protein because 18 eggs a day for 40 days is going to take you a lot longer than a chicken. Also, how the hell is 2 chickens enough food for 39 kids?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. And I was like, okay, so maybe they kill a chicken, but are they going to know how to like prepare a chicken? Are they going to know how to cook a chicken properly so they don't get sick? There's just so many things that go into that so you don't like get sick.
Yeah. And no, seriously, I just think that, I mean, it seemed like Greg actually knew what he was doing because he worked as a butcher, of course.
Just so I mean, he's 15 years old and he used to work as a butcher. Are you kidding?
I know. Seriously, he was the most useful. I'm not gonna lie, most of my notes are me being flabbergasted that these kids were gonna kill 2 chickens because 18 eggs a day wasn't enough protein. Now they're down to 16 eggs a day. It's not like, 1 egg per person. Literally throw that into like a pasta and then you have carbs and protein.
They haven't thought that far.
I literally wrote down that I wish I was there and I was the cook, like right now, because I would be able to do this and be like, no, we're not killing chickens.
Yeah.
We're going to just eat more eggs. Okay, guys?
So there is a girl, there's a few of the kids who are against it, but there's this one girl, Emily, who's 9 years old. And I thought one of the funniest parts of the episode was when Emily gets so fed up with everyone wanting to kill the chickens that she runs into the chicken coop and locks herself in there like a sit-in.
I know. I also love, I fucking love Emily. I love how she said she breaks Mustangs. I'm like, no
What?
way. So I guess she's a rancher. She's like, I break Mustangs.
Oh, yeah.
No way that a 9-year-old's breaking Mustangs.
9-year-olds, like, what?
Like,
but she was like, I love animals. I love being around animals. Like, she lives on a farm. She was cute. I actually really liked her.
I did too. Okay.
And yeah, so they have a town hall meeting about killing the chickens, and they make everyone raise their hands if they want to kill the chickens or not. And it comes out that they do want to kill the chickens.
Yeah. And then I wrote some more stuff down about that. So when they have the scene where they're going to like kill the chickens, and they just cut to that like 9-year-old Alex with his transition lenses, it gave me a good chuckle.
Yeah.
He's like the most out of place person there. And he's like just has no bother in the world.
Some of these kids I'm looking at right now, like you never see them. Like Alex, where does he come from?
He's literally in there just for like really awkward shots.
Yeah, exactly.
I love him though.
And some
Who
of
the hell
them
is
like
Pharrell Williams? Who are Pharrell Williams and Markel Gay? I mean, maybe they come up later, but
who's Blaine Wise? Who's
oh my god, do you know Michael's name is Michael Thought?
oh my god.
That's too funny.
But also his hair, he has so much hair.
I know. Seriously, who the hell are most of these kids? Who is Kennedy Payton Womack? There's an Asian girl? Have we seen her yet?
I'm looking at her photo
Kelsey
right now,
Lou?
and I do not remember her.
I swear to God, I've never seen her before.
Can we just talk about also how incredible Jared is?
Oh, I literally wrote Jared is scary. When he said the thing about like we had to kill it so we can survive.
Wait, let's see what I wrote down. Jared, parentheses 11, weird as shit.
I was wrote he's scary.
So after, I can't say his quote until after we get to that part.
Okay. So then Greg, so I wrote that Greg is literally the most useful kid here besides Sophie because he's like a butcher. He's 15 and Sophia can actually cook. So they're the only two useful people. Everyone else sort of bitches and moans and doesn't do anything.
Yep.
I also wrote that I just hope these kids don't fuck up cooking chicken because that would really suck.
Yeah, I mean, someone must have helped them with that. They couldn't just let them cook. Like, I have trouble cooking chicken.
The camera guys had to have stepped in because you can't let those kids get salmonella.
It's not an intuitive thing to know when chicken's done.
No, it's not at all. Then Greg chops the chicken's heads off, and then their bodies sort of run around after.
Yeah.
That was unpleasant to watch.
That was unpleasant. I had trouble watching that as an adult. Like, I don't know how those kids sat there.
Yeah.
I also wrote down Greg looks way too comfortable with an axe.
I mean, he's a butcher, though, but yeah.
He's like swinging it around, throwing it up, catching it. I was like, you are enjoying this too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's in his element. I don't remember where he's from. I think he's from like Montana or something. This is what they do. This is how he lives.
He gives me like school shooter vibes.
Yeah, I kind of got those. But I also got like, he's like 15 and awkward. He's probably like a perfectly normal guy.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah. Then what was the quote? Because the next thing I have is laughing. I literally wrote laughing my ass off. Their laundry froze.
No, I just wrote down that there's this scene with Jared where he's sitting on a bale of hay, like laying down like a model with his hand on his head. And he just says, "This is the natural cycle of life and death, everybody."
Yeah, he's from Georgia. I forgot. He's great. He's insane.
Crazy.
Also, when Greg said the thing that he's going to work harder because he wants 20K, I 100% agree. I'm an adult and I would like 20K.
Yeah.
I
was like, I want to save up for college. Like, I don't have anything saved for college. And I was like, oh.
I know. It's like they're trying to make him the villain. And then he's like, yeah, well, this is really exciting because, like, this is my college. This is my future, essentially.
Yeah. And
it's
all
like,
the other kids are like, have no idea what 20K even means.
I don't know, besides maybe Sophia and like Michael, who are like 14, those
Yeah.
people. It's like, yeah, they,
But even then, it's hard to conceptualize like how much money that is.
yeah, no, I agree. That's a lot of money. Then the next real thing I wrote is that the yellow team are a bunch of freeloading pieces of shit, and I actually hate them more than Mike.
Yep. I wrote down Taylor is a bad leader.
I wrote something a little meaner than that, but I'm not going to read it out loud.
She is the youngest of the town council, but she just doesn't give.
She's a freeloader. She's a freeloader.
She's just laying in bed while the rest of her team is like, no, the rest of the other team, the green team who's supposed to be cleaning the toilets.
I said Sophia should throw a coup. I said, fuck yellow team. They should be the second class citizens. They're lazy. They shouldn't be the second tier.
And the worst part about that, moving on, is that they have a challenge later that day where they have to get water in pipes through the whole.
Oh my God. And the reward's a water slide or non-freezing pipes.
Yep. And they don't get either of them because the green team doesn't finish on time.
I know.
And they've been working so hard, but they're just so bad at the challenges.
They're just like the worst. They have like three of the best characters, and the rest of the team just sucks.
I know.
Michael, what's? Let me check their names. Michael, what's the redhead? Is it Laura, the redhead, or is it Madison who's in charge?
I believe Laura.
Laura, yeah.
Laurel,
yeah, Laurel.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Olivia Clower? I swear to God, I've never seen her before.
They must not be showing everybody. We'll probably meet them.
I hope. Imagine being one of the kids who suffered through this and wasn't featured.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, you just weren't interesting enough.
I know, seriously. Okay, but just to backtrack, I love how DK, who's one of the best characters in this show, I love how we call them characters, but they're just children. He's like super excited about a water slide, and it's fucking freezing cold outside.
Yeah. So earlier that morning, the pipes were freezing.
The pipes froze. The laundry's frozen. And this kid's like, you know what'd be awesome? If we just stuck a giant water slide in the middle of our town.
Yeah. And that's what they would have gotten if they beat the challenge. But the adult who's like leading the challenge or whatever, who honestly, like, that is kind of weird how into it he gets. But he's like, yeah, don't worry, like, the water slide is heated. Like, that doesn't matter if it's 30 degrees out. Like, you're not going to be warm. Do they have towels?
The second you get off of it, you're going to be so cold.
You're going to be so cold and they can't dry off. Like,
yeah.
Come on, people.
I know. And then, so Blue finally took over and became the first class citizens, whatever you call them. And of course they did, because Greg's like a real man who knows how to do things like plumbing. Yeah. Because remember, he was like,
he also worked as a plumber.
No, he did like sprinklers, irrigation.
Oh, okay.
I think he's a farmer. I think that I'm pretty sure he's from Montana, and he's probably like there's a ranch hand or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, of course they won. So Green didn't finish on time, so they didn't get the prize.
They are now the laborers again. So
and then is Yellow the cooks again?
Yes. I think they all stayed their same rank.
No. Red and Blue flip-flopped. It's good to see Mike go down because I don't like Mike.
I thought that Greg was always on the blue team.
Yeah, no, but Mike's on the red team. Red team was the first class citizens last time.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Green is the most likable group, and they don't deserve either worse. I said Yellow's all full of scumbags because they are. They don't do anything. They don't work. I hate them.
But like, what is the green team doing? Why are they so bad?
I literally wrote that the green team has the best roster, but they have just no clutch gene.
Yeah, and I think that they're just like too nice. Everyone on that team is just like really nice, but they don't have a lot of.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of skill.
Yeah. Outside
of cooking, like they need to be the cooking class just so they don't starve.
Yeah.
Then poor Sophia is doing cooking anyway.
Yeah, but if the yellow team had like the toilets, they would never do it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's true. They always need to be the top class just so they don't like
don't do anything.
Ruin anything. Yeah.
Also, the funniest thing, did you catch that they have like a soda bar?
Yeah.
That is so cute.
I know. They sell root beer too, you know that?
Yeah, they just like go
So
to the little soda bar and the guy, they walk in and they're like, "Oh, what can I do you for? Like a orange soda?"
Yeah. That's funny. And then when Mike's like gets all like pissy about Greg only working hard because there's $20,000 on the line, and say, "No shit, Sherlock."
Yeah.
Like, it's like that's no reason not to vote for him.
Although I will say that Greg was not being very gracious.
Yeah. But still, like, he killed the chickens. No one else would have done that correctly and skinned them.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that said, are we now revealing who won the
No, not yet. I have a couple more thoughts before we get there. All right. So Colton Blake, that kid's a fucking incel. Do you see how he treated Emily when she was like with the chickens? How he like threw a tantrum? So, "You can't be here. You can't be here."
Yeah.
I got big incel vibes. That guy definitely hates women.
Yeah, he probably will.
So I guess let's reveal what happened. So they all voted for Greg, but then somehow Michael won. I'm just saying. Greg got stiffed.
Well, two of them voted for Greg and two of them voted for Michael.
Oh, they originally all voted for Michael, then Mike threw like a little hissy fit about it.
Yeah.
Or Greg, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that said, Michael was really good last episode. He was in the running for the Gold Star last episode, and then this episode, he was the one who fixed the frozen water pump.
That is true. That
so
is
it
true.
didn't come out of nowhere.
It didn't come out of nowhere. He did stuff. But I just feel like Greg got stiffed there because, I mean, he killed two animals.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder than unfreezing pipes.
Yeah.
So then I was just thinking, like, I liked when DK and I think Michael sort of told off the yellow team for being lazy pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I like that. And then I also thought when Michael went to make the phone call, what if his parents just didn't pick up the phone?
I totally thought about that too.
It must be, like, they must know who won already because why else would there be a camera crew there?
Yeah. I mean, they probably record it, like, the day afterwards or something.
Yeah, probably.
I also was, like, when Michael called his parents, she was, like, not even that excited. She was just like, "Oh, wow, good job. I'm really proud of you."
Like, I'm really proud of you. I'm really enjoying my vacation away from you. Please don't come back.
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, $20,000 is good, but just talking to you on the phone is better." And I was like, you guys did not need this as much as Greg did, apparently.
Yeah, I know. Like, see, that's the thing that pissed me off. And where they set up at the end where Greg was like, "There, you need to pay for this." I agree. Like, Greg actually needs this money, clearly.
But that's not the way to get it, is by, like, getting revenge. Like,
I know, but I respect the move. That's all I'm saying is I respect the move.
yeah, it's a hustle.
Yeah. I mean, the kid needs 20 grand so he can go to college.
Maybe he'll get it, but maybe
hope
he'll
so.
also just continue to be a jerk.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sad. Well, we'll find out what happens episode 3. I think it's getting good. I like how there's rivalries now. I think
Really up.
I'm hoping that Greg goes full scorched earth and just ruins everything.
Yeah.
Ruins every bridge. I want him to become I want him to go full heel and just become the most hateable character. I think it'd be hysterical.
You think Greg should?
Yeah, I think Greg should. I think it'd be so funny.
I also thought it was funny how Sophia was like just like railing on Taylor for not doing anything, but she already got a gold star, so she doesn't care.
I know.
She can do whatever she wants now.
True, but like that doesn't mean that she can't get another 20K.
Can you?
I don't know. I don't know the rules, but if you could get more than one, you bet your ass I'm going above and beyond every single week. So I get like, I'm ending with, I don't know, how many weeks is it? Like there's 7 episodes. I'm leaving there the $120,000.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you couldn't though.
They'd find a way. They'd find a way to rig it against me.
Rigged.
It's rigged.
It's rigged.
All right. So this was a great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment about our episode. And if you're enjoying it, please just share it on social media or refer us to a friend. That would be great. The more people that listen, the better. We try and put out as much high quality content as possible. Also, friendly reminder, if you have any ideas for how we can do a Thanksgiving episode, we would love to hear them because we have no idea. And it's going to
let us know.
Because Thanksgiving, is that next week?
Yes.
Thanksgiving's next week. So
it's going to be a week from the day this episode airs.
Yes. A week. Oh, wow. So we'd step up our game.
Yeah. Next episode is the Thanksgiving episode. So
yeah, well, watch out for that one.
But it's going to be really good, whatever it is.
So yeah, whatever we talk about, it's going to be the greatest Thanksgiving special that we have personally ever created.
A high bar.
Yeah. So make sure to follow us on social. We're at podcast_misfits on Twitter and Instagram. We have a blog and a website, so check us out. We're misfitsandmysteries.com. We're toying with the idea of creating a newsletter, so look out for that.
Yeah. If you guys would like to see a newsletter, let us know.
Yeah. And also check us out. We just recorded an episode with the Geesebumps podcast. It's Geesebumps, Did You Mean a Goosebumps podcast? We had a lot of fun there. And we're going to be going on to Wide Atlantic Weird in a few weeks. We'll let you know the exact timing of that. So look out for that too. Make sure you check those guys out. They're awesome. And yeah, so I guess that's it.
Yeah. Stay spooky, everybody.
Stay spooky. Bye.
Bye-bye.